YouTube world back at it once again. I am Instant Classic 8. We're here. It is one going on 1:30 a.m. Monday morning. I don't know the date right now. I'm a little tired. I'm a little drunk as well. But I felt it was needed to come on here and talk about tonight's pay-per-view, which was WWE Royal Rumble. My favorite pay-per-view. I would say, well, WrestleMania is my favorite, but as far as like matches, this is definitely my favorite one. I have a special guest with me. She's making her return. Say hello to the people.
Hello.
He's saying
How are
hello
you?
all the way like 10 minutes away. We're stuck in the snow.
Across town.
We're stuck in the snow forever. We're never going to get out of here. But we still felt it was needed to come on here and talk about this show. Second biggest show of the year. And a lot went down on here. Overall, I'd say I really enjoyed the show. I had a fun time with it. Maybe not all of the finishes that went down I enjoyed, but for the most part, I had a really fun time watching the show. How about you?
I really enjoyed it a lot. There were some parts of it that I was a little about, but overall, like way happier than I was last year. And I was at the Royal Rumble live last year.
Yeah, tell us
So
about your experience last year really quickly.
it was I was so okay. So the Royal Rumble actually is legitimately my favorite pay per view. Like even compared to WrestleMania, like Royal Rumble is my favorite. This is like the big one where it's like it jumps off and it starts off into WrestleMania, and it like its intention with 30 men is supposed to be like ending and beginning all these storylines. And last year was just completely shat on. And I was in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is like one of those towns where you're just kind of like
Rough town.
I feel like I'm gonna die here. Like that was the feeling I had, was like halfway through the Royal Rumble, I had this moment where I was just kind of like, I think I'm gonna die here tonight in this riot because no one is enjoying anything that's going on right now. Um,
It was very, very nuts.
it was really disappointing because I was really looking forward to it, and I just spent the whole weekend. Like I went to Ring of Honor was doing some television tapings, and Jakara had done a show the afternoon of the Royal Rumble. So I was already like all hyped up on wrestling. And so I went to the Royal Rumble with all these high hopes, and I left. I left at like 4 a.m. like because there was a snowstorm coming into Philadelphia. And so I was already like anxious about leaving. And then just the vibe I got about the Rumble and all that kind of stuff and the way that it ended, I was so done. And I left. Like I was supposed to leave at like 10 o'clock Monday. I intentionally called Amtrak and was like, you have to get me out of here as soon as possible.
Wow.
Like
That's nuts right there.
I was so done. I left at like 4 a.m. I was back in Richmond at like 10 o'clock. Like I was back when I was supposed to be leaving Philadelphia. And I was just like, I'm never going back to Philadelphia again. And now I'm trying to move there. So it was
Well,
really the Royal Rumble.
good trip to Orlando, especially this weekend, considering the Rumble was a great show and definitely that it's not snowing in Florida right now. So that should have
Yeah.
been a trip that we should have taken. But either way, we saw this show. Let's go through everything that's on there. The show surprisingly opened up with the Intercontinental Championship match, the last man standing with Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens. Those guys went out there and they just went and had a crazy match and did everything humanly possible to each other as far as going through tables and chairs. And it was a wild brawl, and I really enjoyed it. I thought these two have had a really decent feud, as far as them being on television and whatnot. And their matches have been, pretty enjoyable. I don't know if this was a blow-off match at all, but I really enjoyed it. As far as last man standing matches, this was a really good match.
I was really surprised that they started off with a last man standing match, if only because it was like I had no idea. Like, there was a couple of matches with this pay-per-view that I was kind of like assuming who was going to win, or at least hoping was going to win. I legitimately like had no idea who I wanted nor who I expected to win this match. I kind of thought they were going to start off with the US Championship match. And so for them to start off with this last man standing match and just completely start the show off with this like mind-blowing, like straight up murder in the ring was pretty fantastic. Like it was definitely like, I mean, considering their backgrounds, you had to have known that it was going to be this epic match, and they did not disappoint like at all.
Yeah, it was really good. Like I said, I don't know if they're gonna blow this off. Obviously, things happen in the Rumble to we kind of on forward with it. But I don't know, maybe to do Ambrose and Owens once more. But either way, this is a really good match. Moved on to the tag team championships. The Usos going for the tag titles against the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Big E. This was tag match. It was fine. The Usos are a good tag team. The New Day are a good tag team. I know you love New Day. The act is getting just a little too old for me right now.
What don't you like about New Day?
It's too much.
What do you mean it's too much? Like, expand on that.
When they first started, they would be on TV and have like a little skit for maybe 4 or 5 minutes here and there, and it was funny. But now it just seems like they're forcing it just because they're on TV all the time, and these little skits they're doing, they're just a little over the top, and I don't know. It's gotten a little old for me.
Do you think though, because New Day is really like they're supposed to be, you're kind of supposed to be annoyed by them. Like, I think that's the thing that a lot of people forget, is that when they started, they were these baby faces that you were supposed to love, and power of positivity and all that kind of bullshit. And then they kind of turned into these obnoxious assholes, which everyone slowly, very, very, very slowly turned on to and
Right.
kind of loved. And they've just kind of kept up the shtick going. They're really, you're supposed to find them irritating and aggravating. They're heels. The Usos are supposed to be the baby faces in this.
They were the ones getting cheered. The Usos were the ones getting booed tonight.
And that's like what is kind of concerning me a little bit about New Day. And I kind of get where you're coming from, because there was a couple moments where I've watched Raws with New Day, and I kind of feel like because they're one of the more successful groups on Raw and SmackDown, like, considering everyone else comparatively, they've kind of, I feel like they've taken them and been like, all right, you're great. We're going to put you against everyone. They're trying to like put this New Day rub on everybody, which is really extremely flattering to be in that position of like, you have this overness about you that we're going to put you against Jericho, and we're going to put you against the Usos, and we're going to put you against Team Bad and all that kind of stuff. But it is kind of dancing on this line of maybe too much, like you're relying on them too much, and they got over on their own accord. Why don't you let everybody else that you're trying to get over with New Day get over on their own accord too? Instead, you're just kind of like putting New Day everywhere, which is great. I really like New Day. And I understand that they're supposed to be these obnoxious assholes, which you're really not supposed to like. But I can kind of see where you're coming from too, where it's getting to be a little bit too much too.
Like it was a big storm that came through. Like the New Day were a storm that came through, and they were there, and they just been so much of them on TV lately. Again, I don't hate them. It's just getting a little annoying. Either way, this match was fine. I really enjoyed the ending. One of the Usos, I didn't catch who it was, but he came off the top rope, and Big E ended up catching him into the big ending. I popped pretty big for that. They're still the tag team champions. I don't know where they're going to go from here. They're going to get a new team to go against. I have no clue, but we'll see. Either way, this was a really, really good match.
It was like, and I think the problem is that New Day is so successful in that they don't have anybody else to go up against. Like, Usos really just got back together, because Jimmy Urge was injured. And so they just got back together. They just became the Usos. And then for a while they were going up against Tyson and Kidd, who are both injured. And then like the Ascension kind of for a little bit, but they're not really on the radar anymore. I think the problem is that the tag team division for a while was being built up really well, but there's nobody for them to lose legitimately the titles to. Like, I actually thought New Day was going to lose tonight. I didn't want them to lose, but I kind of expected it, if only because they've been holding on to the tag titles for so long, and then Usos winning, tag team of the year, and they got back together. I assumed that they would kind of take advantage and win, and going into WrestleMania and like Fastlane and then WrestleMania that's when New Day would kind of be trying to come back to become the 3-time tag team champions. But I was kind of surprised that they retained tonight, but there really isn't another tag team. The tag team division, it seemed like they were trying to build up really well, but at the same time, it's not. Like, New Day is really the only legitimate tag team champion. I can't think of it. Like, Kalisto is by himself now, like, on
Do
his
you
own.
feel like that there needs to be a team more popular or more over than the New Day to beat them?
I don't think they need to be more popular or more over. I think they need to be more legitimate as a tag team. Like, they don't have to be like as popular as New Day, but they have to be convincing to take away the tag team titles. Like, right now, New Day, I can't think off the top of my head how long they've been tag team champions, but they have been long enough that it's like anybody who comes up against them right now, be it a makeshift tag team or the Usos just coming back together, like, New Day is kind of like, they are the top. As being that they are the champions, they are the top tag team in the division, but there really isn't a division right now for them to be on top of. And so they're kind of in this weird spot where they're holding on to these tag team titles against the Usos
Yeah,
and nobody else.
that's it. That's all they have.
The Lucha Dragons, as of what we know right now, are no longer, like, they don't exist currently in this universe because Sin Cara is injured. I mean, Kalisto, as far as we know, is being a singles, trying to become a singles champion. Like, who like, primetime players, like Titus O'Neil was in the Royal Rumble and Darren Young had to fight to get into the Royal Rumble. Like, Ascension was the same deal. Like, Ascension was trying to.
Are they even a team anymore?
What's that?
Are they even a team anymore? Primetime players?
I don't know. They are, in the sense that, like, they were together they went on tour in India and they were a tag team. But I was in DC for SmackDown and they wrestled in separate matches. Like, it's like this weird, they haven't announced that they're no longer together, but they're not wrestling together either. They're wrestling separately while using the same music. So, like, name another tag team that the New Day can go up against. Like, there isn't. New Day. Who is New Day going to drop it to? The Usos? Okay, that's great. Usos going to drop it back to New Day. Like, they're just going to drop it back and forth. It just makes more sense, I guess, for New Day to hold on to it until there's another. There needs to at least be a third tag team. You need to at least have, like, a third person in any division. You can't just have it jumping back and forth between two people. You need to have that third wild card to be like, oh, create some sort of surprise element. I don't know. But right now, the tag team division was great, and now it isn't. And so it doesn't make sense for New Day to drop it to the Usos, if they're just going to drop it back next month or the month after.
We need more tag teams is the story of this.
Pretty much, which, considering how shallow that their main roster is right now in general.
It's really bad.
Yeah. Like, I'm surprised that New Day didn't drop it, but I'm glad they didn't drop it either, because it's not that I don't dislike the Usos. It's just that you give it to the Usos, who are they going to drop it back to? The New Day? Then you just have these two tag teams dropping it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and that gets boring real fast. It's better just to have that one tag team, like, holding it over everyone's head until the rest of the tag team division develops, I guess.
Well, speaking of back and forth, next match, U.S. Championship, Alberto Del Rio against Kalisto.
Yes.
Kalisto ended up beating Del Rio for the title. He's now a two-time champion. I missed the first win. That was on Monday Night Raw a couple weeks ago.
I think it was last week.
Last week?
It was. I could be wrong. Someone's going to call me out and say, I'm pretty sure it was last Monday, and then he lost it on SmackDown.
No. It was not this past Monday, but the Monday before. Because I watched the SmackDown that he lost.
You're probably right, but it felt like he's only had it for a week.
Either way, he just won the title again, beat Del Rio clean. Match was okay. I don't really know what they're doing with these two guys, but it was a good match.
I think it stems back to the fact that, like, Sin Cara is injured. Kalisto needs to do something. Instead of having Kalisto like hanging out in the back, they're making them a singles competitor, which is great because the U.S. title, again, needs to be built up, despite the fact that Cena was doing it great until he got injured. Like,
all the way down.
I have lots of feelings about the titles and the way they're being used right now.
So that we don't drain your energy on the titles, I want to move forward to the next match because you have many opinions on it. Charlotte versus Becky Lynch for the Divas Championship. Before you go off on your rant, I will say that I thought the match was okay. They've had better matches in NXT. Ric Flair's involvement, it's just not needed.
No.
I'm tired of Charlotte already as champion. Hopefully we're going to get a change with that soon. But like I said, this match was, I was waiting for a Becky win. We didn't get that. It is what it is.
I wanted a Becky win. I feel like Becky is literally the only babyface in the women's division right now, between Paige and Nikki being injured and you not knowing what the fuck they're doing. And then Natty just came back, which I guess she's kind of like a face. But no, I was kind of I was hoping for Becky to win. If she didn't win, I wouldn't have been upset. But I'm really, really disappointed in the way that this match ended the way that it did.
You went off, like, your Twitter, which I'm going to get you to plug later. You went off on there about the end of this match. What was your beef?
Okay, so here's my issue. I'm trying not to make this like ranty because I've always tried not to be like super ranty about wrestling, but here you have Becky and you have Charlotte, and they've had this history of being best friends, and they came from NXT together, and they came up together, and yada yada yada. Rick here is not needed in this feud whatsoever. The only thing that he brings to the table is being Charlotte's dad, which was great in the beginning. I really felt like this match. Oh, there's Lana. I'm sorry, I'm watching the Royal Rumble again. It came on again. I feel like in this match, Flair should have been in the back. Like, the way that the match came about with Becky calling out Flair and Flair like making the match for Charlotte, they had an ample opportunity for Charlotte to have a moment. It didn't have to be a moment where she turned on her father, but they could have had a moment where she said to him, "You're making these decisions for me. I want to be my own Charlotte Flair back on my own," and then have to everyone that can be Charlotte Flair, or have her lose and have Becky win. However, this bullshit where they have fucking Ric Flair, who's 62 fucking years old, kiss Becky Lynch against her will was unnecessary. Like, it bothers me that in 2016, this bullshit is still happening in the Divas division. I was talking to a friend of mine via text, and he made a really brilliant point that a white man should not be the face of the Divas division right now. Like, an old white dude should not be the face of the Divas division, even though it's Ric Flair. I love Ric Flair. I think he is the GOAT. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I fucking love Ric Flair, and I'm glad he's on my television, and I'm going to cry my fucking eyes out when he is no longer on my television. But for him to pull the bullshit and for them to okay the bullshit that happened tonight and then have him, like, kiss her and then have Charlotte pin her and then throw her to the side, then have Sasha come out, throw Becky even further to the side, and then start this feud, which is going to be great. Sasha versus Charlotte is going to be amazing. But you made Becky a double down afterthought. That's what it came down to. Like, you could have done all of that. You could have had Charlotte beat Becky via any other interference. You should have sent Flair to the back anyway. Flair interfered 3 separate times in that match. That ref should have sent him to the back after the first interference and have Becky do whatever the fuck that she needed to do to beat Becky and then throw her off to the side. But instead, you had Ric Flair kiss her, not have any sort of reaction. I think she slapped him. I'm not entirely sure. But then she pinned her. after Ric Flair threw a fucking coat on top of her. Like, what the fuck is that bullshit? Then went off to the side. Then Sasha came out. Mm-hmm. And, like, Becky's this afterthought. Like,
there's literally a picture of her on, like, the mat crying as she's watching.
It's honestly, like, it's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. I was trying really hard not to make this a rant, and it became a rant, and I have no apologies for it. It's fucking bullshit that you made Becky is amazing. Like, Becky has this opportunity. Like, she's the ultimate. She is the fucking Bailey of the main roster. Like, everybody loves
that. Yeah.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. She is the current underdog of this division. Who else in this division can you legitimately call a babyface?
Not much. Natalia?
Maybe Natty. Except for maybe Natty, but Natty just came back last week. Like, it bothered, like, it just, you could have done all of that without Ric Flair. And it bothers me. It bothered me. It left me feeling really uncomfortable. And I think I said it on my Twitter. It left this match with a huge dark cloud over it. And that huge dark cloud was Ric Flair. Like, it just, there are ways to go about it. And I think it stems from the fact that, as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, there are no women writers in WWE.
I'm not really sure, but when you go and watch those, like, Breaking Ground and all that stuff, where you see, like, the writing team, I don't really see any women, honestly.
I don't see any women. Like, in NXT, totally. You see, like, Sarah Del Rey. Yeah. That's it. In the main roster, I feel like they don't think about that. They don't think about the female fan. They don't think about how that's going to make us feel. I want you to think about the 8-year-old who's going to watch this match. The 8-year-old you're trying to sell the Nikki Bella stuff to. The 8-year-old you're trying to sell the Becky Lynch merchandise to. The Charlotte Flair stuff to. There are 8 and 12-year-olds who are watching this match. And you're telling me that Becky Lynch, the girl we're all supposed to be root for, was basically like, yeah, like that's asinine to me. Like, I grew up in the Attitude Era as a 10-year-old girl, and that was like, think back to the Attitude Era. That was ridiculous. I shouldn't have been watching half the shit I should have been watching as a 10-year-old. But now they're in the PG era, where they are supposed to be catering to the 10-year-old, and that's what they had to watch tonight. And I think that's ridiculous. Like, it just, I'm really glad that they're finally giving Sasha Banks what we've all been, they've been giving us what we asked for. We've been asking for Sasha Banks, and Sasha Banks is going to fight Charlotte, and probably for the title, probably at WrestleMania, and it's going to be brilliant. However, to treat Becky the way that they did tonight left an awful taste in my mouth. And it just like provided this dark cloud, and it was like, it was ridiculous. I don't appreciate it as a female fan. I was really insulted, quite frankly, because that's who you're like, there's no other baby faces in the division right now. You have no one else for me to root for. And you have me the one woman that you want me to root for. You just kind of threw her aside. Like, that, like, she's just now an afterthought. Like, unless they bring her back and do this, like, triple threat match, that'd be great. But you still shouldn't have had fucking Ric Flair out there. Quite, like.
Well, I think you're only going to get more of Ric Flair, unfortunately, going forward. Especially going to have banter with he and Sasha Banks going forward. So,
as long as he doesn't try to kiss her against her will, fine, great. The whole promo that Becky cut against Flair on Raw to make this match was brilliant. He didn't have to kiss her. Like, that's gross. Like, nobody liked that. Like, anybody who actually liked that and thought that it brought, like, you shouldn't have to get heat from sexually assaulting somebody. Like, I hate to pull that card, but that's what happened. Like, it's lazy. It's fucking lazy to do that. Like, there are a million other ways for Flair to interfere, and for him to do that, it was weird. It was just weird. It was not necessary. On
to the 30-man Battle Royal, the Royal Rumble. This Rumble was much better than last year. I think everyone can say that. There were definitely surprises. It's not as many as I thought.
There were enough. There were enough surprises. I'm watching them right now.
There was one major surprise that I marked out completely for. The number one entrance was Roman Reigns. He was defending his title, of course. Rusev was number 2. He threw Rusev out pretty quickly. And number 3 was AJ freaking Styles. Is in the WWE. That's just so mind blowing that AJ Styles it's just longer.
I kind of felt like he was gonna show up. Just there was no way the way the WWE was like pushing this whole Bullet Club, like AJ Styles, Bullet Club. What does Baylor think? What does everybody think about this? Like John Cena had fucking AJ Styles' photo on his Instagram. I was not expecting him to come out at number 3. I really wasn't. And I was watching the network and I was texting. I was texting you and I was texting another friend of mine and I was texting my brother who was watching it. And he texted me, he went, "Oh my God." And I'm like, and I was still in the middle of like Rusev versus Roman Reigns. And I'm like,
part yet.
I was like, "What are you doing?" And then 30 seconds later, AJ came out and I lost my shit. And then I texted him and was like, "You are ahead of me." The music hit. And I didn't know who it was, but I knew I didn't recognize the music. So I was like, "Don't text me anymore. We're done. Don't text me anymore." Because I was like, "We can talk. You can't talk about what's going on right now. You're going to have to wait until I say something because you're obviously 25 seconds ahead of me." And so he kind of spoiled it. But then AJ came out and I lost my shit. And it was I'm surprised my neighbors didn't come and knock on my door and ask me why am I yelling so much?
When he came out, AJ when I said
just casual, just what's up?
Casually, absolutely. He got an insane pop.
He did.
He came out as AJ Styles, which I thought was just crazy.
The moment Cole mentioned the fucking Styles Clash,
that's what I'm saying. They have already started to build up that move. You never really saw the opponent get into it, but they mentioned the Styles Clash maybe 2 or 3 times.
They did. He did not get to do it, which was probably great for the he shouldn't have done it at the Rumble. That's not when he should have been doing it.
Yeah, he didn't do that much, which is fine because he'll have his debut match and everything.
Yeah, but he spent a really long time in the Rumble though too. I was surprised. I was nervous throughout, watching to see who's going to be the one eliminate AJ Styles. It better not be fucking Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman, thankfully. Kevin Owens was the one that eliminated him, which I said that's probably the perfect person to eliminate AJ Styles from this Rumble was Kevin Owens. I think most of the fans will be okay with that going down, especially if those two have a match. Once he eliminated Styles, then we had another surprise, which was Sami freaking Zayn in the Royal Rumble. He got a pretty awesome, reception as well.
Yeah.
That was pretty damn sweet to see.
It was. I love Sami Zayn. I actually I took a break from wrestling from 2007 to mid 2012, 2007 2008. So I missed a lot of the El Generico versus Skeen, but I get it, and there was parts of it that I knew about. And it's just so hyped up that for him to come out and immediately go after Kevin Owens, I lost it. And I like Sami Zayn on his own, on everything he's done for NXT, because that's the big part of how I know him. I know a little bit of him prior to WWE, but I was not expecting Sami Zayn to come out. I had a whole list of people that might be coming out as a surprise from NXT. I was thinking Baylor. For some reason, Sami Zayn was not on my radar that he was going to come out, if only, I guess, because he had already come out for the Cena challenge, the Open US challenge. But for him to come out and immediately, I think it's amazing that WWE is keeping up this Steen versus Zayn feud that's been going on, as far as I can tell, forever.
Been building for a long time, for sure.
I love that continuity. That's the one thing that I've always loved about wrestling, is that like I always get so irritated when they don't acknowledge continuity. Like when they do, it's so much better. Like this is something that's been going on. Like it's just to be accepted that Steen and Generico or Owens and Zayn, you get them in a room together, they're just gonna beat the shit out of each other, and that's what happened. Like it was pretty fantastic. And then I really appreciated that Owens was the one to eliminate Styles, and then
Amazing. It's all good. Get them out. Get them out.
What's that?
Your markouts, get them out.
I know. I'm so excited. Well, because like I only know of this because of Twitter. Like I knew of like little bits and pieces of like, you know, like Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. Like I knew before I came on Twitter. Like once I got onto Twitter, that's how I know all of this wrestling stuff, is through people posting videos and stuff like that. And so it's always like, oh yay, like Jericho is, you know, Zayn and da-da-da-da. But yeah, no, for them to like acknowledge that and then for them to all eliminate each other to create, one of the things I love about the Royal Rumble is that there's this opportunity with like 30 fucking superstars. That's the time to like start building towards WrestleMania and start building beyond this pay-per-view and like start creating like 5 separate storylines that just started in this pay-per-view. Just by having them interact each other in a big old match. Like that's what the Royal Rumble is supposed to be. Is just no holds barred. I hate you because you eliminated me. That's perfect. Perfect reason to hate each other, because you prevented me from becoming the champion. Like it's perfect.
Speaking of a big old match, of course there had to be other participants in this match. You had your Tyler Breezes, Curtis Axel, Goldust, Stardust, R-Truth. R-Truth came out. He actually had a pretty funny bit. He came out and went underneath the ring to get a ladder, and then put the ladder up and walked up to it, thinking it was, I guess, a ladder match or Money in the Bank match.
You thought it was Money in the Bank. I had no idea what was happening until he like grabbed the ladder and immediately was like, he thinks it's Money in the Bank. And that I love it. I like that they're giving him something to do. Like that he's just this forgetful guy. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I'm gonna do this.
The story was Harper and Strowman and who's the other one? Rowan came in a match and they were destroying everybody. And then Brock came out, started throwing everyone over, eliminated all of the Wyatts. Bray came out, and who eliminated Lesnar? Was it Bray?
I think
Swagger? No.
It was all of the Wyatts. I'm pretty sure. Like they
beat him down and they threw him over. That's right.
Yeah, but I don't know if Bray was part of it. I think he directed. I don't know. I can't remember if he was part of it, but it was all the Wyatt family. The Wyatt family was the one who eliminated.
You're correct. They all got eliminated. Bray was coming out, and then he instructed all of them to take Brock out and throw him out. So that's correct.
Yeah.
So they're going to do Brock and Bray at WrestleMania, and that just sounds like... Ugh.
What is it? Why does it sound like
Brock and Bray?
Really? You don't like
it? Not feeling it. No.
They both face The Undertaker.
No. We'll talk about it later. Not feeling it. The finish. Well, the freaking Wyatt family. Why do they call them family? They have different last names. The Wyatt clan. They took out Roman early on, threw him to a table. They took Roman to the back so he can get his little break. Came back out, destroyed everyone. I forgot who it came down to. It was
Kane got eliminated by Braun Strowman.
By
Braun Strowman eliminated Kane, and he eliminated Big Show. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he took out a bunch of people for sure.
Which was great because last year they were the ones who eliminated like Ziggler and Daniel Bryan and like this whole list of people, just bam, 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 bam. For them, the pacing of this match, the pacing of the Royal Rumble, and the pacing of the eliminations was way better than last year. Like just miles beyond, because last year it just felt like it was basically like Roman Reigns is gonna win this. and you're just going to have to suck it up, and we're just going to throw everyone out there and eliminate them as much as we can, and you're just going to have to sit there and deal with it.
Speaking of, everyone knew that Roman was going to win last year. I don't know where it came from. It literally just hit me today, but everyone was predicting a win by Hunter Hearst Helmsley to win the WWE Championship in 2016. Sure as shit, number 30, Triple H comes out.
I told you. You asked me, and I told you.
Hunter, why is this needed? Why are they doing this? Why do we have to have Triple H in a feud for the title?
Okay, that part I can't tell you, but I can tell you that it stemmed from the rumor that it was going to be Roman Reigns versus Triple H at WrestleMania, and so I kind of ignored it just because I try not to listen. I hear the rumors and I try to ignore them, but then they come true and then I get sad. But I had a feeling that Triple H was at least going to come out at some point in the Rumble, probably near the end, because he wasn't showing up on the Raws. It was just Stephanie and Vince, and there was no mention of Triple H after him getting beat up by Roman Reigns. And so it just made sense that at some point he was going to come up for his comeuppance, but he needed to focus on his NXT shit. And so he needed to come back as the Game. And I knew he was going to come out. I wasn't sure if he was going to win the title.
Well, he won the title.
He did win the title.
He won the title.
I was shocked. I think I'd like to point out that it was not Roman Reigns versus Triple H to end this match. It was Triple H versus Dean Ambrose.
Which that was, I guess, a way to throw everyone off.
I'm pretty okay with that. I went into the Royal Rumble expecting that either Roman Reigns or Triple H was going to win this match, and cared but didn't care, but mostly cared about how the Rumble itself was going to go. Because again, my whole thing about the Rumble is that it's much more than who wins it. It's what you're going to develop from it and what you take away and what happens in the midst of it. Because it's like a 45-minute match. The winner shouldn't be the only important part. It should be what happens from number 1 to number 30 and then the ending. But for them to end Roman Reigns, just they popped him out. They just threw him out, and then it was Ambrose versus Triple H.
It wasn't a struggle or anything at all.
What's that?
So it wasn't a struggle or anything. They just threw him. They just threw him out. And so for them to have this brief moment of Ambrose versus Triple H, I really thought maybe Ambrose was gonna win. Of course, there's always that little part of you is no, Triple H is going to win this. But for you to have that moment of doubt, that's why I watch wrestling. I don't like watching wrestling and knowing what's going to happen. I hate that of wrestling. I hate knowing what's going to happen. I hate this I hate that. I hate knowing why am I gonna waste my time on something that I know is going to end and something that I if I know the answer to something. And so for me to have that moment of doubt was great. The Triple H won. I don't know why. I can't tell you why. We'll find out on Raw tomorrow. But I'm curious. I'm curious as to why Triple H won. I always when I watch pay-per-views, I always let myself I get a little upset and I get a little butthurt, as evidence, as you could probably see on my Twitter. But I always let the Raw happen just to because I always see the pay-per-views as these season finales, and then the Raw is the season premiere of the next season. And so it always answers questions about what it's supposed to answer, questions about what happened during, But you're also supposed to raise questions after you see the season finale, why did they do this, or where are they going to go to next?
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying is that we have all these questions as to why. I mean, why is Triple H even in the Royal Rumble? He's the CEO. He's he's the authority. Why is he even in here? What is he really hate? Does he hate Roman Reigns that badly? Did he not trust that Vince and the League of Nations could get it done? Why did he feel like he needed to enter the Royal Rumble himself? I'm sure we're going to get those questions answered, hopefully in the opening segment of Raw tomorrow. because that's how it's supposed to go.
Probably so. It's a 20-minute promo. We'll probably get some answers tomorrow, but for this show tonight, thumbs up. I'll give it that. I enjoyed it. Had a good time watching it. We'll see where they go with it from here. Triple H is going to be at WrestleMania as champion. That's just going to be.
That's not true. We have a pay-per-view in between now and then.
Payback or
you could lose it.
Fastlane, that's what it is.
You could lose it at Fastlane. We don't know. Like, that's like everybody forgets that there's a pay-per-view between now and then, which, you know, maybe there shouldn't be a pay-per-view between now and then. But
it should not.
You don't think so?
No, just build up Mania. Just go from Rumble and just build up Mania. And then what you should do is like the 5th week or 6th week or something like that, you do like a big special, like a Saturday night main event or something like that, where it's like almost like pay-per-view style matches but on TV, just to give it some little bit more of an interest, and then you just push all the way through Mania.
So but describe a pay-per-view.
Yeah, but
with the network,
that word pay-per-view just makes it like, oh, it's going to be big time matches, and you have to do something big. Where I think they should have that gap between Rumble and WrestleMania to get people wanting to see these matches more.
No, I agree. I agree with that, but I think like for now, like there is a pay-per-view between now and then, and it's perfectly feasible that Triple H will retain this title all the way to WrestleMania, but it's also perfectly feasible that he'll lose it at Fastlane, and then we have a new champ heading into WrestleMania.
Yeah, they did that with Eddie. Maybe they can do it with whoever goes against Triple H. Roman Reigns again. It's a 3-time champion.
I guess so. Like, I don't know. I don't dislike Triple H as champion. I'm just surprised that they're going with Triple H as champion again. But then at the same time, like, other than Reigns, who are you gonna make champion?
Sheamus.
No. Other than I thought I was assumed. Other than Sheamus. Who are you going to make champion? Like, who is a convincing champion beyond Roman Reigns and Sheamus? No, about Sheamus. Who is a convincing champion beyond Reigns?
John Cena. He'll be back.
John Cena's injured. Who is uninjured?
He'll be back for Mania.
Not Sheamus. No. He was uninjured. Like, right now. Like, a lot of people, I'm not naming Twitter accounts, a lot of people assume that Roman Reigns was just going to roll right through this Royal Rumble and just beat everybody and win, and he was going to be champ.
Who said that?
I'm not giving attention to this account that I have seen.
That's fine. Either way, this was a fun show. Would you say this is a fun show?
I had a lot of fun watching the show. I had a great time. Like, especially going into it, assuming a lot of things and being proven wrong. And I really enjoyed the Rumble. Like, I really, really, truly enjoyed the Rumble for what it was, because last year was pretty not, like, it was bad. It was a bad Rumble. It's a bad Rumble match. Like, the Royal Rumble itself wasn't bad. There were some good matches. I actually watched the Royal Rumble matches from last year before I watched the Rumble tonight, and I really enjoyed them. The Rumble match was awful, and so to compare that to this year's was miles better. So
70 days until WrestleMania. We'll see where they build to. This was a different review thoughts video from me. As you see, normally my thoughts video like 3 minutes long. This was a little bit longer, but maybe we'll do these again in the future. I'll put all her information so you can find her. I'll put that somewhere in the description box. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Until then, Mr. Class Kate, peace.